Aquarius, January 20th to February 18th. Athena, goddess of wisdom. Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war, is certainly an aspirational figure. As the patron deity of the city of Athens, she represents the culture's dedication to law, order, and justice, but also her strategic knowledge of warfare. Aquarians too hold dominion over a wide realm. They are progressive and intellectual, but can be uncompromising and temperamental if pushed. Though Athena was the goddess of wisdom and strategy, she was not without flaws. In one of her more famous stories, she turns Arachne into a spider for boasting about being a better weaver than the goddess. That's where her temper comes in. Just like Aquarians, their dedication to order can also be their undoing. She was loving to her followers, but was quick to anger against her enemies. Because those born under the sign of Aquarius tend to have their heads in the sky, leaning into those stories of the goddess that discuss her compassion and artistry can be wise. No one person is any one thing all the time, and finding those parts of the Aquarian's mind will help them be a more rounded person. Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. Poseidon, god of the sea. Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea, is the god most closely associated with Pisces, the zodiac sign of the fish. Their connection is more than just an affinity for water. Both are known for their wisdom and maturity, but also their tendency to be overly emotional. Poseidon's dominion over the seas also extended to his control of earthquakes, drought, and horses. Though few of his stories are about vengeance, those that are noteworthy. Because he lost rule of Athens to Athena, he cursed the city with drought. When he was denied payment for building the walls of Troy, he sent a sea monster to destroy the walls. While Pisces are usually more even-keeled than their associated god, they too have a tendency to let their emotions rule their actions. That isn't always bad though. Pisces speaks what they feel, but it's important not to let negative emotions rule every choice they make. Be open and honest, but maybe find a more positive outlet for anger than a sea monster. Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Aries, god of war. Few will be surprised that Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is connected with Aries, the Greek god of war. Aries' ruling planet is Mars, and the Roman name for Aries. Both are known for their passion and anger, but there's no linguistic connection between them. Aries wasn't a particularly well-loved figure in ancient Athens, but he was a popular figure in Sparta, a more militaristic city-state. Likewise, Aries wasn't necessarily everybody's cup of tea. Their courage is matched by their short tempers, but that doesn't make them bad, just difficult sometimes to get along with, hence their connection to the god of war. Like the god Aries, and Aries simply isn't to everybody's taste, but for those who take the time to get to know them, they're enthusiastic and valuable friends. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. Demeter, goddess of the harvest. Demeter is perhaps most famous for her connection to her daughter, Persephone, but Tauruses are more likely to feel a deeper connection with her. Both Tauruses and Demeter are famed for their devoted nature, although can turn into stubbornness and possessiveness if left unchecked. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest, fertility, and the cycle of birth and death. The fall and winter are her seasons of grieving her daughter. Her heartbreak over Persephone's union with Hades causes her to neglect her duties as nurturer. Likewise, the intense devotion that Tauruses feel can turn sour, and their world can go dark when they feel abandoned. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest, fertility, and the cycle of birth and death. The fall and winter are her seasons of grieving her daughter. Her heartbreak over Persephone's union with Hades causes her to neglect her duties as nurturer. Likewise, the intense devotion that Tauruses feel can turn sour, and their world can go dark when they feel abandoned. Gemini, May 21st to June 20th. Hermes, the herald of the gods. Geminis have a strong connection to Hermes, the Greek god of thieves, travellers, and sports. Geminis are naturally curious, often dipping their toes into many disciplines and learning them quickly before moving on to the next subject of interest. They soak up information and share it with others. Their enthusiasm and sociability earning them many friends along the way. Hermes was the messenger of the gods. Just as Geminis are fond of diving into conversations with new people, they often seek new companions, always in search of what they see as their missing half, the other side of their symbol, the twin. But this connection has drawbacks too. Some of Hermes' actions are morally ambiguous. He's a thief in some stories, and he has a tendency towards short encounters rather than deep connections. Likewise, Geminis can be indecisive and afraid of commitment, and be too preoccupied with what else is out there to really settle down. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. Hera, goddess of marriage. Hera, the wife of Zeus, is one of the Greek pantheon's most pitiable figures. Though she's the goddess of marriage, her husband is infamous for his constant infidelity. Cancers have a similar duality, being both loyal and intensely suspicious, sympathetic and insecure. But Hera, like Cancers, is not without agency. Just as the goddess punished those who wronged her with little remorse, Cancers can have a bit of a manipulative streak. Taking advantage of their loyal nature is unwise, because neither Hera nor Cancers will suffer fools. They are kind and compassionate to those they care about, but those they care about better care back, or they'll find themselves on the wrong side of wrath. Both Hera and Cancers have tough exteriors to protect their inner softness. That the astrological sign for Cancer is the crab is no coincidence. Cancers are feelings driven and emotional, and therefore protect themselves by building walls around their true selves. But once a person does break through their barrier, they'll find someone compassionate, kind, and loyal to a fault. Leo, July 23rd to August 22nd. Apollo, god of the sun. Leo's ruling sign is the sun, so it's no surprise that their closest Greek god equivalent is Apollo, but the sun is in this god's only dominion, also connected with various forms of art, archery, and medicine. Like Leo's, his passions are connected with warmth and creativity, though they're not without a dangerous edge. Leos are generally generous and cheerful, but it's not a coincidence that they're the sign of the lion. Anger them and you'll find arrogance and stubbornness. They often have a high opinion of themselves. Lions are the kings of the jungle after all. Likewise, Apollo's vengeance was famed. Each of his skills could be reversed to wreak great harm. The sun is warm and life-giving, but its absence or abundance can cause pain. Archery can provide, but it can wound. Medicines heal, but can cause illness. Leos would do well to remember this, as the traits that make them great can have alternate effects if not wielded responsibly. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. Artemis, goddess of the hunt. Artemis, unlike many of the Greek gods, is known for being chaste. She held dominion over the hunt and virginity, and was the protector of children. It's no surprise that Virgo the Virgin is the sign most associated with her. Both are known for their loyalty and hard-working natures, rather than their indulgences. The faults of many signs come from their passion or intensity, but not Virgo. Instead, Virgos have a tendency to be hardworking, sometimes denying themselves pleasure as they seek a sense of satisfaction from all that they do. Artemis too lacks the passionate stories of many other Greek gods. Her stories are less scandalous than those of Zeus or Aries, and we tend to find her taking revenge or acting as a type of guardian more than not. Artemis can serve as a cautionary tale for the modern Virgo. While hard work is their speciality, making time for others is also important. Indulge a little, as the other signs do. There's happiness to be found in pampering the self as much as pampering others. Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd. Aphrodite, goddess of love. Aphrodite is the Greek goddess of love and beauty, associated with the planet Venus and named after the Roman equivalent to Aphrodite. Not coincidentally, Venus is also the ruling planet of Libra and embodies many of the characteristics associated with Aphrodite. As the goddess of love, Aphrodite was said to have many consorts, both god and human alike. While the same may not be true of a modern Libra, they too tend to prefer company than being alone. They are diplomatic and concerned with fairness, hence the representative sign of the scales. Aphrodite's famed feud with Hera and Athena over which goddess was the fairest is said to have caused the Trojan War. Important to note is that despite being the cause of one of history's great conflicts, Aphrodite herself did not fight. Like Aphrodite, Libras avoid confrontation, but can certainly hold a grudge. The distinction is important. Aphrodite, just like Libras, will never start a fight, but she will certainly remember who did. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. Hades, god of the underworld. The story of Hades and Persephone is one of the most famous in Greek mythology. Hades, the god of the underworld, kidnaps Persephone and brings her to his home, tricking her into eating 6 pomegranate seeds, the food of the dead, to keep her there for 6 months of the year, 1 month for each seed eaten. Scorpios, some of the naturally darkest among the signs, are likely to see some of themselves in the story. They too are known for their jealousy and tendency toward possessiveness. But unlike many underworld figures in mythology, Hades isn't entirely evil. His job is to oversee the dead, not to punish them. Despite perception, Scorpios aren't all dark and evil. Quite often, they shroud themselves in it to hide their feelings of vulnerability. In the myth, Hades is not just Persephone's captor. When she's with him, they are husband and wife, the two overseers of the underworld. Many read their relationship as one of passion and caring, not just kidnapper and victim. Still, Scorpios should know that their actions matter. Passion can turn into jealousy, and thinking not just of personal desire but of long-term consequences is important. Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. Zeus, king of the gods. Zeus is the ruler of the Greek gods, husband to Hera, overseer of earth and sky, and notorious cheater. His flaws are part of what makes him such a compelling figure. Just like Sagittarius, his power and wisdom are offset by indulgence and boisterousness. Zeus's duality. He's both the leader of the Greek gods and famed for his infidelity to his wife, the goddess of marriage, likely sits well with Sagittarius. They too love the world and all its indulgences, which can get them into trouble on occasion. Their idealism and desire for complete freedom also means they can sometimes isolate others. Both Zeus and Sagittarius have to be cautious so that their desires don't supersede their relationships. Their ambitions often override their consideration for others. Still, Zeus is patriarch for a reason. He gets things done, just like modern Sagittarius. Those big ideas can sometimes translate into big action without godly power to back them up. Sagittarius would do well to keep their ambition high, but also work on those planning skills. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. Hephaestus, god of the forge. Hephaestus, the Greek god of fire, metalworking and sculpture, is known less for his own exploits and more for his treatment at the hands of others. Famed for his many talents rather than his beauty, Hephaestus was said to be the only ugly god of the pantheon. He crafted many of the gods' most important weapons and armour. Capricorns can likely identify with these traits. One of the most hard-working signs of the zodiac, Capricorns are disciplined and resourceful, even when surrounded by chaos. Like Hephaestus, they do have a tendency to be unforgiving. One of the god's most infamous stories concerns him trapping his wife in a cage for her infidelity so that all the other gods could laugh at her. What modern Capricorns can take from their connection with Hephaestus is to not let their work become their whole life. There's plenty of life to see beyond what they create. Spend a little time indulging as the other signs do, and live life a little fuller. What do you think of this? Did this correctly describe you? Please let me know in the comments below. And this concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please click the like button, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for future videos. Thank you.